positive feelings. Uh, you know, every enterprise is a journey, and every ending is also a beginning. So I'd like to talk a bit about endings and beginnings. And in terms of endings, this is the last official day of staging sustainability. Tomorrow is a day of pro bono consultation for those of you that are interested in doing that. So as part of the ending of this conference, there's a lot of people to thank, and you've met most of us on the organizing committee in the course of the past few days. But there's two people that I really want to do a special acknowledgement of today, because truly without those two people, we would not have made it through the past few months and the past few days. And so I particularly want to thank Lindsay McDonald, who's standing at the back. Give us a wave, Lindsay, in case everybody doesn't know your name. And I'd also like to acknowledge Boomer Stacy. Where have you gone to, Boomer? There. So thank you both very, very much. You've been fabulous, and I really hope that you've had as rewarding an experience as I think the people in the room have had. So that's our ending part. Of course, the work isn't ended. They've got to do all the follow-up, so it's a little bit of a fake ending. But in terms of the beginning, we thought to conclude this conference, we really wanted somebody that would propel us forward, because there's always that lull that we're all in. And so I'm not going to put too much pressure on Adrienne, because that's a heavy load to follow, but I think we've picked somebody who is distinguished in her whole life and in her whole career as being someone who you could truly say has a restless mind, an inquiring soul, and a passionate heart. And I think that's what you're going to hear from our speaker, Adrienne Goehler. We've just chatted a little bit, but I think that Adrienne brings us to that kind of really cool place that none of us know what to do with, and that's that intersection of art and politics, art and society, action and inaction, the past and the present. She's got a career as an academic, as a psychologist, as a politician twice in the German government, once as a member of the Green Party, and once as an independent. She's been part of government, the German government, as a minister. She's led an art school at the exalted age of 33. And she's going to talk to us about the subject that made me think that there was a propelling forward here, because the title of her topic is Troublemaking. So I present Adrienne.
Thank you very much. That makes me not less nervous. It is a super big burden with a high risk to fail. And there are no closing words because we are in an ongoing process. And I also will probably fail maybe in satisfying the expectation of troublemaking, even if it's not very far from my daily life. We shared a lot these days, and it seems to me, as we all suffer, that politics is not driven by a holistic perspective, by an overall responsibility, but that governmental thinking and acting is determined by the division of reality into hermetic departments and segregation of the things that belong together. Unfortunately, it is not only politics that is guided by the logic, but most public and private trusts, foundations, sponsors, funds follow the same principle. There, They call the segmentation and excluding criteria, this is not in our profile, or, oh, sorry, not corresponding to our portfolio. As a term of political jargon, sustainability became meaningless because of its inflationary, narrow, and at the same time undifferentiated use. There's a French song from Serge Reggiani, and one phrase is "Trop souvent mais trop mal aimé." Too much but too bad loved. Sustainability in the political mouth spreads the same erotic, like expressing mechanically the need for gender mainstreaming, or recalling what Adrienne Goehler quoted yesterday, how inspiring and lustful it is to talk about a marriage as sustainable. So it is hardly surprising that issues of sustainability are seen from most individuals as non-essential and unconnected to their lives, but is still mainly seen as an appeal to the well-filled wallet or the superego, which means the Protestant scolding voice. Don't do. This point of view includes also the majority of artists and others in the creative professions. Even though all experts have in numerous manifestos and publications asserted that the cultural and aesthetic dimension of sustainability is indispensable for raising humanity's awareness, 22 years after the UN summit of Rio, the potential of art remains largely unaddressed, as well as the potentials of the humanities, the cultural and social sciences, were and are carelessly underestimated and underutilized when it comes to the need for sustainable action. In most papers, sustainability is still defined as based on 3 pillars, and I also saw it in a PowerPoint here. So the ecological, the economical, and the social pillar. We, as people involved in the arts, please, we should strongly fight this image, as pillars can't move, they can't communicate, and they cannot mutually penetrate or overlap. Pillars are pillars. All sustainability, how I would love that we define it, is the result of thinking new things and seeing the familiar from a new perspective. Sustainability is continuous renewal, is mainly a cultural challenge, not a technical recipe. The most important source of the 21st century is creativity. This important fact was missing in the yesterday's Lord lunch talk. But creativity, not understood as an exclusive good for the happy few, the artists, but as an ability inherent to everybody, is flexible, is liquid, not a reserve, not a commodity, but a current. An energy that runs dry if it is abused by reducing it to its immediate economic usability. It needs to flow and require supportive conditions in order to continuously renew itself and thus be a source of sustainability. We need visions of a sustainable life that interconnect with the sensuality, the lust, and the passion of acting on our own. Sustainability needs a space for development in which the multiple interconnections between the existing wealth of knowledge and experience in the arts and the science, as well as the idea that each individual can be part of this can truly unfold. Sustainability has a lot to do with trust and truth. Sustainability future cannot neglect the traditional knowledge, what is to be learned from those who have lived the longest on the land, living a culture of water, for instance, wasting nothing, respecting nature as our mother. To develop sustainability as a powerful tool for change, we should rather follow the notion of St. Francis of Assisi, perhaps the first ecologist in history, who in 1225 already defined sustainability widespread. I quote, "Per lo quale delle tue creature dai sostentamento," means through which you give your creatures sustenance or sustain them. We also can take the definition of the German natural scientist Alexander von Humboldt, who stated in 1809, "Sustainability is what ties us together when the rest falls apart." Sustainability requires a social vision. The multiple links of the existing wealth of knowledge and experience can truly unfold in what I call the cultural-based society over a long term, and if they are open to change and transformation. Artistic questions and approaches have, for a while now, aimed at extending their spaces of social resonance by using the political, ecological, and economic crisis for their own work. Artists take on the tasks of listening, observing, and publicizing global change that have moved beyond the focus of world attention or is neglected by power. We should not forget that the worldwide capitalism is controlled and dominated by 58 companies responsible for an overproduction of almost everything. Yes, we suffer an overproduction of almost everything. Cars, computers, industrialized food, but also in the arts. Artists, in order to survive, are forced to overproduce. To make a minimum of living, they need to make a maximum of applications and stuff. That is not sustainable. Sustainability and capitalism are incompatible, are antagonists. Sustainability based on fear is problematic. Our present could be characterized as in between, as a state of no longer and not yet. The man's world ideology of faster, quicker, higher, more doesn't fit no longer. Natural resources and human beings are equally exhausted, but yet we don't have powerful strategies to cope with the void caused by the end of certainties, which is scaring. Liquid modernity, as philosopher Zygmunt Bauman characterized our time, has to deal with the uncertitude of the open contexts. I claim that artists, cultural and social creatives are more experienced in coping with the radically open contexts and dealing with gaps. It is the nature of artistic and scientific practice to deal with doubts, rejections, anger, fear, to combine and recombine, to sample and to mix, and to deal with imagination. Capabilities we miss desperately in politics and the economical sectors. Therefore, sustainability that understands itself as intervening and fashioning something new cannot do without the arts and sciences. From them, we need to learn how to think in transitions, interim solutions, models and projects, how to use the productivity of error, the ability to begin again and again, to navigate between shortage and abundance, to think in transitions, laboratories, models, movement, accessing energy, desires, potentials, visions, yearning, breathing. Even if I'm very much convinced, as you can see or feel or hear, of the importance of artistic intervention to protect the term sustainability from losing its power to convince, I prefer reloading this term and the debate around sustainability through the power of aesthetics. Why? Aesthetics is the broader concept. Aesthetics means the participation of all senses, of feeling, perceiving, fashioning the world. The arts can be understood as agents of aesthetics, and artists increasingly as the procurators of the social perspectivity. Rashid Areen, a London-based conceptual artist, writer, and patent inventor, introduced the term eco-aesthetics in his manifesto for the 21st century. I quote, "Only when people are in a position to use their own creative potentials, which can be enhanced by an artistic imagination, will a change occur. Art can and should strive for an alternative that is not only aesthetically affirmative and productive, but is also beneficial to all forms of life on our planet." I am proposing, now this, you know, it's that I wanted to show you, just to make clear that the arts were busy with our world. In the same year when the Club of Rome stated for the first time, our resources are limited, it was also already an important performance. And most of you will know, of course, Joseph Beuys and the social practice. That was what I was looking for. I'm proposing a fund for aesthetics and sustainability as a step towards exploring the neglected cultural dimension of sustainability towards an aesthetic practice. But then because if we talk about sustainability, we need to talk about money that is missing for the arts, not conform to the arts, not conform to the market, and we need to talk about the unsustainable methods of funding the arts. They are insane, as they still follow the ideology of brand newness, and most of the foundations exclude to deepen or to reframe a project. So we need other containers, strategies, funds to encourage collaborations between the arts, the science, and the NGOs, to make possible common research, as in our specialized world, in fact, we don't have time and space for common, inter, or multidisciplinary research. Time is the last keyword. Sustainability needs deceleration to unfold and breathe. Sustainability is the balance between inhale and exhale. Our breathless reality is unable to do so. And if I should reduce what I think is now needed in the world on one movement, I would say it is this. And our capitalism and our faster, more is this. So if we cannot make this movement, a person dies, and maybe also our quality of life. Hannah Arendt, the great philosopher, said, "The privilege of the human being is to call something new in the world." And I want you to leave with two challenges: to call something new in the world. Think about a fund for aesthetics and sustainability for your work. Take the money from the environmental side and also from the education side. We have to match the funds, and we need to bring the little money together. And of course, the environmental side, they have a big problem financing artists, because is it proved scientifically? I mean, can you show me any statistics? But after, as I told yesterday in the little group, we had in Germany celebrating 300 years of sustainability. And even the experts on sustainability were half dead after that year because they were so bored and so exhausted about talking always in front of the same people about the same thing. And they understand that maybe the art is needed, but they don't say it loud. So think about a fund for aesthetics and sustainability that make the collaboration together, and think about the most efficient, sustainable idea that allows deceleration. The introduction of an unconditioned basic income grant, a basic guaranteed monthly income for everybody. That would reduce consumption out of frustration, and it would allow us to question the answers, to cultivate the deep curiosity and empathy Alan Goldbart reminded us in the opening speech as the task of today, which is urgently needed to make the world a better place. Not only the rich or the instructed people are on our side. This is, of course, a kind of troublemaking, because that perspective politicians profoundly hate, as it is minimizing their power. And a tiny provocation at the end. Less is more. And this is also true for conferences about sustainability. Thank you very much.